Hello everybody, it's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on April 24, 2026. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome newcomers and returned people. Let's see. I received an email from one of you guys. How many people associated with the Jeffrey E. guy have passed away mysteriously? Jean-Luc Brunel, age 75, a French modeling agency boss awaiting for trial for allegedly trafficking girls to Epstein, was found hanged inside of a Paris prison cell in February 2022. I remember that one. Movie producer Steve Bing, age 55, he just magically plunged from the 27th floor. And you ever heard of the 27 Club? Plunged from the 27th floor of his LA apartment building in June 2020 after talking to the FBI about the E guy. Financier Stephen Hoffenberg confessed in a final account before his death that the E guy and Ghislaine girl were taping money trap videos of sleazy VIPs with underage girls for the cabal of deep state blackmailing power brokers. Wow. It's a psychopath's dream. And then the E-guy's final cellmate, Ephraim Stone Reyes, age 51, he died of the CV in November 2020, just weeks after talking with federal investigators probing the monstrous money man's death. Reyes was transferred out of the E's cell just one day before the bigwig's death, per the Daily Mail. 3 of the E guy's outspoken accusers also suspiciously perished. Virginia Guffrey, age 41, was found dead on April 25 in an apparent suicide, while sex slaves Carolyn Adriano, age 36, and Leah Sky Patrick, age 29, died of drug overdoses in May 23 and May 17. Joe Ricari, the Palm Beach police detective who led the E investigation and pushed officials for justice, died May 25, 2018, after a brief illness at the young age of 50. Epstein's ex-butler, Alfredo Rodriguez, who swiped his former boss's influence little black book and offered to sell it to an undercover favorite Bureau of Investigation agent, died in December 2014 of mesothemia at age 60. Thomas Bowers, 55, head of Deutsche Bank Wealth Management Division that moved money for the E-guy, was also found hanged inside California home in November 2019. Wow. These people give themselves away every day, right? These delete people. These private contractors take out hits on people. It's just too much of a coincidence. The E-guy, his pal and former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, he died in his sleep September 2023 at age 75. 2 investigative journalists chasing the E scandal have also met their end. Former NYPD detective and e-book author John Connolly, he passed away in January 2022 at 78 years old, per the New York Post. Celebrity biographer Wendy Leigh's body, she was found beneath her London balcony in May of 2016, and at least the 3 million E-guys documents released by my favorite bureau were only scratching the surface, or at worst, were a misdirection to avoid attention on other aspects of who the E-guy was connected to, what they did, and the extreme evil of all their other activities, perhaps all of the above. Well, thank you, subscriber, for that information. I appreciate it. And now today I watched I forget her name, Cassidy's Project Camelot's video on the missing and deleted scientists. And then I received an email. Where is it? Today. This is a new video. International UFO Congress co-founder Bob Brown's obituary, April 2026. They're just dropping like flies. Like, what is it that they don't want us to know? International UFO Congress co-founder Bob Brown's obituary is April 2026. And then today I received all these videos. Watch, disturbing pattern emerges in missing and deceased scientists on YouTube. I just don't have the time to watch all these videos, guys. And I appreciate you're sending them all to me, but I just don't have the time. Then here's another one. Watch, chilling new information revealed on dead scientists. This is insane on YouTube. Unfortunately, they're mentioning Amy Estridge because she was a young woman. What was she, 34, 36 years old? And she warns us. She created videos. She had interviews that she was being stalked, gang stalked, harassed, and that she gave a statement that she would never take her own life, that she does not do drugs, and that she would never harm another person. And then, of course, guess what happens? She disappears. She's deleted. And then they interview her father. And her father has the audacity to say, oh, and mind you, he works for NASA, you know, the Nazi company. NASA, NASA, just sounds a lot like N-A-Z-I, right? Sound a little bit. Well, anyway, her father works for them. And he had the audacity to say, well, you know, people die. What? Or just like 30-something-year-olds just who've been pleading for help, they just suddenly die. It's your own damn daughter. Oh my goodness. They're all in on it. Even their parents. And then, let's see. Then we've got some other good stuff like a CEO and CFO of a $12 billion Texas data center developer. They both abruptly resign, and the AI narrative is unveiling. And, you know, it's just not adding up. So CEO and CFO of a $12 billion Texas data center developer resign. Okay, so what is it that they know that they don't want us to know, or that they're scared about, right? And then we've got police chiefs allegedly faked robberies in $5,000 a pop visa fraud scheme. Wow. And this is you know, of course, this is popping up all over the country too. And this was actually in the Wall Street Journal. So these police chiefs allegedly faked robberies in $5,000 a pop visa fraud scheme. Wall Street, and made it to the Wall Street Journal. For a decade, 4 Louisiana lawmen and a Subway shop owner manufactured phony crime reports to help foreign nationals stay in the U.S. And this is an article, April 20th, 2026, by Joe Barrett. In Oakdale, Louisiana, southwestern Louisiana city of Oh, come on, guys. Wait till you hear how many people live in southwestern Louisiana. 6,600. In Oakdale, Louisiana, the southwestern Louisiana city of 6,600 is home to a federal prison, a plywood mill, and a couple of takeout crawfish joints. Now it also finds itself at the center of a baffling crime spree. Well, why is it so baffling if there are almost 6,600 people living in that city? Come on, guys. Once you know this stuff, it's kind of hard to ignore. So for nearly a decade, Oakdale and its neighboring towns endured an unusual concentration of armed robberies of people who were not from Louisiana. Then acting U.S. Attorney Alexander Van Hook said at the news conference last summer. Now, unfortunately, I'm not able to keep reading because I'm not subscribed, but I just wanted to give you that heads up there. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, April 20th, 2026. If you have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal, you can check it out there. But yeah, so that small town of 6,600 people is a home to a federal prison, a plywood mill, and a couple of takeout crawfish joints. They are the center of a baffling crime spree. What's so baffling about it when there are 6,600 people living there? Okay, let's see. Yes, and thank you for the video. I did watch it yesterday. There's a video, Corrupt Judges, Lazy Lawyers, and Family Vultures, a PI, Private Investigator's Warning, on YouTube. In case you're interested, and it's about property theft and things of that nature. Then, of course, let's see. Where is the other one? Okay, so the disturbing pattern, emergence of missing and deceased scientists, and then Carrie Cassidy created a video today about the missing scientists, and everybody on the comment section said that David Wilcock did not take his own life, or at least not willingly, right? Yeah, so here is Carrie Cassidy here. Okay. And let's see what else we've got for you guys. I'm looking through my mail. Oh, yes. There was an email that I received from Cora on an updated message, and let's see if I can find it again, because it just disappeared, just magically disappeared. Okay, 1 second. Oh, here it is. It is entitled "Another protocol being used is to order law enforcement to write it off." And this is a year ago. It was posted a year ago. Another protocol being used is to order law enforcement to write off anybody who complains of stalking, harassment, and being tortured as crazy, and they are forbidden to help the person, deny their constitutional rights. Infragard vigilantes under the auspices of my favorite Bureau of Instigation and the fusion centers are paid to stalk and harass the victims so that the harassment mimics what one-dimensional psychologists immediately assume is schizophrenia, delusions, paranoia, when it's not. Well, when you have evidence of a dildo being placed in your mailbox, or how about skinned dead animal on the mailbox and the guts and the heart and the liver spread on your driveway, or how about a tongue that's left on your porch, or dead animals and stuff? I don't know, guys. Does that sound delusional or paranoid to you? Or how about the pattern that was captured of a plane who blocked out their registration number, performing unusual flight patterns only over my property, that is strip mining it, mapping out my property for minerals. Oh, yes, I guess that's schizophrenia. The constant harassment was perfected by the former East German communist secret police, the Stasi, as psychological warfare to destroy dissidents. Since there are millions of dollars to be made using non-consensual human experimentation, even to lethality, this program is viciously covered up with an intricate network of paid conspirators. And that includes your neighbors. They are paid for hire murderers. Premeditated, by the way. Activists all over the world are being targeted by the intelligence services for their activities. For their work in challenging the status quo, they're being made to pay a high price. Just like all those scientists and people, UFO experts, etc., have gone missing. They've either gone missing and not found, or they show up having deleted their own selves when they have clearly given public records, documentation that they would never do such a thing. Their work in challenging the status quo, they're being made to pay a high price. These are ordinary civilians. These are our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, sons, daughters, and friends, untrained and non-military. But they are being targeted, like you and I, by the most advanced military machine this planet has ever seen. And what is the advanced military machine? I'll explain a little bit about what I know, what I've experienced about this advanced military machine. So what they do, and of course, if you've listened to Joy Devi's latest testimony, that she had a bunch of morons, a whole group of them, likely infraguard, former military, 4 or 5 or 6 of them go out of their way to change her direction as she's going for a regular drive along the road. So what they do is they decide they're going to go with their wrench and remove some of the road signs so that she gets lost and drives around in circles. But these morons, they give themselves away every day because they're such literally morons. These are immature little weenie boys and girls. She caught them. And this is what happens is they weren't doing their job fast enough. So she actually witnessed some loser attached to the road sign with a wrench while all the other guys are dropping like flies in the local ditch to hide. And what comes to mind is the interview with Kay Griggs, former military wife, also whistleblower. Her husband in a drunken stupor would reveal everything to her about all the nefarious things that he was doing and ordered to do. Some of the things that he was actually ordered to do were to delete people. But basically what she said is that, these military guys, they hate women. They're extremely immature. They love to play pranks. So that's what came to mind is, besides the fact they're sexual perverts and bisexual, at a very minimum. But she says they love to play pranks. And that's what Joy Devi witnessed. These middle-aged men thought it was funny, hilarious, to cause a woman to drive around in circles while they change the road signs. Okay? I guess, I don't know, that's not such an advanced military machine, but that's just part of it. But one advanced military machine is the use of energy weapons. And these energy weapons, they have the ability to rust anything at will, bend metal, burn images into anything. And I've got that on my channel where they literally burned a cat's face into a recently cut log. Or how about burning a triangle into your, cutting a triangle into your forearm through 2 layers of clothing that had no damage to the clothing. This is how they're able to use energy weapons through your aluminum siding, your vinyl siding, your insulation, your wood, your concrete, your pavers. They can go through all of those materials while you're lying in bed and not harm, not physically, visually see the harm on the outside of your building, but you will see the harm on your body. You will wake up, your face will be red, you'll feel itchy. If you take your body temperature, it'll be up in the high 90s when it should be in the 70s in a resting position. You'll wake up vibrating. If your nose constantly runs and you don't have a cold, that is your cerebral fluid leaking. If you run your fingers through your skull and it's no longer smooth and round and it's concave and it's got patches of concaveness, you're being hit with directed energy weapons. Yes, these advanced military machines. They call it no-touch torture. And while I'm on the subject of torture, I have another document to read to you. And thank you, subscriber, for this. This was actually left in the comments section, and I had to look it up. So this is a Public Law 102-256, dated March 12, 1992. And this is the 102nd Congress. This is an act to carry out obligations of the United States under the United Nations Charter and other international agreements pertaining to the protection of human rights by establishing a civil action for the recovery of damages from an individual who engages in torture or extrajudicial killing. Be it enacted by the Senate and House Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, the short title is, "This Act may be cited as the Torture Victim Protection Act of 1991. This is the establishment of a civil action, and the liability is an individual who, under actual or apparent authority, the color of law of any foreign nation, subjects an individual to torture, shall, in a civil action, be liable for damages to that individual. Or, number 2, the subjects of an individual to extrajudicial killing, from the fuck Masons or anybody else, the favorite Bureau of Instigation, private contractors, Infragard, Fusion Center operatives, who subject an individual to extrajudicial killing shall, in a civil action, be liable for damages to the individual's legal representative or to any person who may be a claimant in the action of wrongful death. Then there's B, the exhaustion of remedies. A court shall decline to hear a claim under this section if the claimant has not exhausted adequate or available remedies in the place in which the conduct gave rise to the claim occurred. It's sort of like, when you write to your sheriff's department and they do nothing, or they don't come out and photograph the evidence or arrest anybody, or you file a lawsuit against your neighbors with evidence. A witness, signed witness statement, videos. The statute of limitation, no action shall be maintained unless it's commenced within 10 years after the cause of action arises. 10 years. Okay, so that's a little bit better than the 2 or 3 years mentioned in some statute of limitations. And some statute of limitations are even shorter than that. But within 10 years, I'm only living here 7 years, and that definitely falls under the statute of limitations. According to this act, extrajudicial killing. For the purposes of this act, the term extrajudicial killing means a deliberate killing, not authorized by a previous judgment, pronounced by a regularly constituted court, affording all the judicial guarantees which are recognized as indispensable by civilized people. And such term, however, does not include any such killing that under international law is lawfully carried out under the authority of a foreign nation. So I guess that falls under the FISA 702 Act, right? So torture for the purposes of this act. So we're going to define what torture means. The term torture means any act directed against an individual in the offender's custody or physical control, by which a severe pain and suffering, other than pain and suffering arising only from an inherent or incidental lawful sanctions, whether physical or mental, is intentionally inflicted on that individual for such purposes as obtaining from that individual or third party information or confession, punishing that individual for an act that individual or third party has committed or is suspected of committed, intimidating or coercing that individual or third person for any reason based upon discrimination of any kind. And inflicting mental pain or suffering. It refers to prolonged mental harm caused by or resulting from the intentional infliction or threatened infliction of severe physical pain or suffering. So the intentional infliction or threatens. I don't know, when somebody leaves a tongue on the porch, that seems like a tacit threat. Or when somebody leaves the remains of dead animals on your driveway. Or how about going into your nonprofit building and harming the eyes of kittens? That appears to be some kind of a threat, right? So there's the administration or application or threatened administration or application of mind-altering substances or other procedures calculated to disrupt profoundly the senses or the personality. So that would be the spraying over your house, the interior of your house, the chicken coops that contain that gray dust that you're forced to inhale. How about the aerosols that are sprayed over the property that are essentially neurotoxins? Or how about when they can knock you out? And there are patents about this, by the way. I've posted patents on my community page today. Oh, how about the threat of imminent death? Or the threat that another individual will be subject to death. It's like the threat, it's what they're doing to my pets and my birds. Severe physical pain or suffering, or the administration or application of mind-altering substances or other procedures calculated to disrupt profoundly the senses or personality. And this was approved March 12, 1992. Or how about the infliction of synthetic biology, sort of like, where is it? Let's see if I can pull it up here. How about like, excuse me, cruel and unusual suffering. According to Clifford Carnicom, August 23, 2025, we know the phrase cruel and unusual punishment in a once honored constitution, and its origins tracing back to the 17th century, but now we are now entitled to a modern counterpart in our own times, and both acts deserve equal and permanent condemnation. So, and I'm going to read more about this paper in another video, but I just want to give you a little synopsis of this as we segue into this compared to the Cruel and Unusual Punishment Act of 1992. This paper concerns the modern refusal to acknowledge and stop the needless and endless pain and suffering instilled upon the global population via inflicted synthetic biology. I'm going to show you what that looks like, okay? Just a little bit of what that looks like under a microscope. Or how about, I'm just going to scroll down, I'm going to scroll down here and show you the visible photos of the affliction, the state of blood in a representative's afflicted region, and, you know, the loser doctor in town that I went to that charged me $75 and did not take a swab or a blood test. No. How about the microscopic structural identification of a known source of chronic severe pain? And you can see one of those images, which was magnified 1,000 times on my interview with David A. You could see like this little brown, roundish, weird substance with a black thread going through it. Actually, what I pulled off my body was a speck of sand, but when I magnified it 1,000 times, that's what it looked like. So, you know, when they call you cray-cray, when you've got these visible forms, blood, structure, the thermal imagery of the infliction. So what this is referring to is, I'm going to show you the photo of this afflicted ankles, that this is a case history situation where the situation is chronic to the individual on one leg for 4 years and another leg for 1 year. The symptoms were classic and recorded 1,000-fold in the histories of those that cry for help. It's chronic, irritated skin, lesions that do not heal, continuous pain, often severe, both surface and neural, sometimes associated with visible filament production, but that's not required, and subsurface skin motion is often reported. In this particular case, the individual confirms the first 4 of the stated symptoms. Okay, so we're going to scroll down here and show you this person's ankle. This is their right ankle. It's a right angle, and this person experiences 1 to 4 of the above symptoms. Oh, well, this one looks a little bit more like mine. I don't know. Is that schizophrenic or paranoid to you? I don't know. That doesn't look paranoid, schizophrenic to me. That looks very, very painful. In her case, this woman's case, this 1 year ago, the circumstances of the right ankle were considerably more severe, with edema threatening the viability of the foot. Walking any distance of more than 1,000 feet was not feasible due to the resident chronic pain throughout both feet. Conventional footwear cannot be worn during these periods of the ailment of this foot. Walking capability has increased to some extent, though symptoms 1 through 4 remain chronic and significant, but I guess we can say that that's schizophrenic. Now, when the blood, now this is not normal looking blood, and I am no medical doctor at all. But don't you think that this blood, that would say this is the reference blood photograph taken from the finger. There was no visible skin affliction at that location of the finger, but this is the blood of the affected individual. Okay, let me just show you what the blood looks like. This was the magnification of 3200. Look at the unusual structures inside of these alleged blood samples. Have you ever seen anything like that? I guess that's considered to be schizophrenia. And now here's the blood photograph from the left ankle of the subject. Okay. And this is also magnification 3200s. This is actually synthetic biology. Okay, let me show you this. And for anybody that wants to see what real blood looks like, you can just pick up any images on the internet. Show me what blood samples look like. Healthy blood samples. They don't look like this. Okay. So this is, at this point, we're able to make a definitive association between the viable state of the ankle, the chronic and painful symptoms experienced by the individual, and the high level presence of the CBD, which is called synthetic biology, within an afflicted area. And of course, you know, the local doctor took no blood samples or scrapings from me to make any kind of determination as to what the affliction on my legs was. In fact, she wanted to refer me to a dermatologist and went through a song and a dance about how I should just take the appointment and I could always cancel it because it was recommended by a doctor and the doctor can make the appointment for me. I said, sure. She gave me two choices of locations to attend this dermatological appointment and then never gave it to me. The lack or unwillingness to inquire or observe this direct relationship is inexcusable. It's not forgivable and essentially a crime deserving of the title to this paper, which the title of this paper is Cruel and Unusual Suffering.